Welcome back to another episode of DAS, Death After Sports, with your boy, Sean Mack. First, I want to say I appreciate the new subs. I appreciate the new views. Couldn't do this without y'all. I greatly appreciate it. So thanks for stopping by. Today, we're going to be discussing the pioneer, the top dog, the OG, Terry Funk. Widely considered to be one of the most influential and greatest professional wrestlers of all time. His career spanned more than 50 years. He retired, he came back. He retired, he came back, but that's what the Funk do. So remember, if you like today's content, make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the video. So let's go. Funk started his career in 1965, working in his father's, Dory Funk's Western State Promotion in Amarillo, Texas. His debut match was against Sputnik Moore on December 9th. He and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., quickly rose in the ranks as a team, and in single matches against top names like Ernie Ladd and Hank James. They became big money wrestlers by the end of the decade. In 1975, Terry defeated Jake Briscoe for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in Miami when Dory failed to appear for a title shot. He began a 14-month title reign defending the title against Jake Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Carlos Rocha, Giant Baba, and Pat O'Connor. In addition to North America, he defended the belt in Australia, Japan, and Singapore. This historical run ended in Toronto when he was defeated by Handsome Harley Race, who had earlier beaten Dory Jr. for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship before losing it to Jake Briscoe. Race lifted Funk for a shin breaker and then trapped him in an Indian death leg lock. When Funk failed to respond to the referee Fred Atkins, the match was stopped. Funk started his career in 1965, working in his father's, Dory Funk's Western State Promotion in Amarillo, Texas. His debut match was against Sputnik Moore on December 9th. He and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., quickly rose in the ranks as a team, and in single matches against top names like Ernie Ladd and Hank James. They became big money wrestlers by the end of the decade. In 1975, Terry defeated Jake Briscoe for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in Miami when Dory failed to appear for a title shot. He began a 14-month title reign defending the title against Jake Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Carlos Rocha, Giant Baba, and Pat O'Connor. In addition to North America, he defended the belt in Australia, Japan, and Singapore. This historical run ended in Toronto when he was defeated by Handsome Harley Race, who had earlier beaten Dory Jr. for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship before losing it to Jake Briscoe. Race lifted Funk for a shin breaker and then trapped him in an Indian death leg lock. When Funk failed to respond to the referee Fred Atkins, the match was stopped. During 1981, Terry spent some time in the Continental Wrestling Association feuding with Jerry Lawler. The most memorable match in this feud happened in April of 1981 at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. The match took place in an empty arena with only Lance Russell, a cameraman, and a photographer present. Funk challenged Lawler to this match because at the time he felt he was getting unfairly treated in Memphis. The confrontation only lasted a few minutes and ended with Funk trying to put Lawler's eye out with a broken 2x4, but Lawler kicked Funk's elbow, causing him to hit himself in the eye. The tape aired on April 25th of 1981. Terry and Dory Jr. also made a name for themselves in Japan. Terry became a star in the eyes of the Japanese fans with his over-the-top mannerisms, sometimes colorful get-ups, and his brawling ability. In Japan, the Funks were heels until they faced the Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher in Tokyo. The two later faced Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody and the Giant Baba in his memorable feuds as well. Terry Funk made his World Wrestling Federation debut on June of 1985 after a brief run in the AWA. In his televised debut on Championship Wrestling, he not only beat Aldo Marino, but he also beat on-ring announcer Mel Phillips. Funk attacked Phillips after Phillips made a mistake of putting on Funk's cowboy hats. Funk also had a gimmick of carrying a branding iron with him to the ringside and using it to brand his fallen opponents. The attack on Phillips led to a feud with the Junkyard Dog. In the mid-80s, Funk teamed with Dory, calling himself Hoss Funk and Jimmy Jack Funk, a storyline, quote, brother. They were managed by Jimmy Hart. At the time, he had a heated rivalry with the Junkyard Dog, which led to a match between Terry Funk and Hoss Funk and the team of Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog at WrestleMania 2. Terry also had a series of WWF title matches against Hulk Hogan. Funk left the WWF in April of 1986. Funk joined World Championship Wrestling in 1989 and became part of the J-Tex Corporation. He began feuding with Ric Flair, who had defeated Ricky Steamboat at Wrestle War for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Funk, who was one of the 3 judges for the main event, challenged Ric Flair to a title match. Flair refused, saying that Funk was spending time in Hollywood instead of focusing on wrestling. Funk then attacked, power driving Flair on a ringside table. This put the champion Flair out of action until the Great American Bash in July of 1989, where he faced Funk. Flair won the match by reversing a small package into one of his own, but shortly after was attacked by Gary Hart and the Great Muta. Sting came to aid Flair, and the two brawled with Funk and Muta to close the show. At Clash of the Champions 7 in September of 1989, Flair and Sting defeated Muta and Dick Slater. After the match, Funk then used a plastic shopping bag to suffocate Flair. Boy, I miss old school wrestling. At Halloween Havoc in October of 1989, Funk and the Great Muta lost to Flair and Sting in a Thunderdome match. The feud then culminated in a I Quit match between Funk and Flair at the Clash of Champions 11 in November of 1989, which Funk lost after yelling, "Yes, I quit," after Flair put on a figure-4 leg lock. After losing, Funk shook Flair's hand and was attacked by Gary Hart's stable. The match received a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer. After fighting in Japan and for the Eastern/Extreme Championship Wrestling, he returned to the WWF in 1997. Funk appeared in the 1997 Royal Rumble match, appearing as number 24 and lasting 15 minutes and 18 seconds before being eliminated by Mankind. Funk then returned to the ECW before his retirement. His retirement just lasted 11 days before he returned to the ring, after wrestling in Japan with the Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling and on the United States Independent Circuit, most notably a bout with Rick Ratchet that drew many fans on the East Coast. Funk rejoined the WWF that year. Funk made his return to the WWF on the December 29, 1997 episode of Raw as the Masked Chainsaw Charlie, although his true identity was soon acknowledged by the announcers. Teaming with Mike Foley, who was wrestling under his Cactus Jack persona, Charlie and Jack began feuding with the New Age Outlaws, who defeated them by disqualifications on January 26, 1998 episode of Raw. The following week on Raw, Charlie and Jack had a match against each other, with the match ending in a no contest after the New Age Outlaws attacked them both, placing them both in a dumpster and then pushing that dumpster off the stage. At No Way Out of Texas, In Your House, Charlie and Jack teamed with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart, defeating the team of Triple H, Salvo Vega, and the New Age Outlaws. At WrestleMania 15, Jack and Charlie defeated the New Age Outlaws in a dumpster match to win the WWF Tag Team Championship. The following night on March 30th episode of Raw, Charlie and Jack lost the title back to the New Age Outlaws in a cage match. On April 13th episode of Raw, Funk began wrestling as himself and formed a tag team with Too Cold Scorpion. The team was short-lived but did defeat the likes of the Quebecers and the Midnight Express. On the May 4th episode of Raw, Funk was defeated by Foley in a Falls Count Anywhere match. On the June 1st episode of Raw, Funk was defeated by Mark Henry in a King of the Ring qualifying match. During this King of the Ring pay-per-view, Funk interfered in the Mankind vs. The Undertaker Hell in a Cell match, receiving a chokeslam from The Undertaker. Funk then formed a short-lived tag team with Justin Bradshaw, which defeated Too Much on the July 25th episode of WWF Shotgun Saturday at Fully Loaded in Your House. Funk and Bradshaw were defeated by Fuqua and Too Cold Scorpion, with Bradshaw attacking Funk after the match. Funk left the WWF once again following this match. At ECW November to Remember, Funk was believed to have been Tommy Dreamer's mystery partner against Just Incredible and Jack Victory. However, it turned out to be Jake the Snake Roberts. An enraged Funk attacked Dreamer at every opportunity in late 1998 and early 1999. He came down ill before he could actually have the match, and yet again he retired mid-1999. As I stated earlier, Terry Funk had a hell of a career. He was an OG in this, he was a pioneer. He actually wrestled over 50 years. He was 20 years into his career when I found out about him as a little kid. I can go on forever about him. He retired at least 10 times. He came back, WWF, ECW, he did it all. But his last wrestling match came on September 22nd of 2017 for the Big Time Wrestling promotion in Raleigh, North Carolina. He teamed up with the Rock and Roll Express in a 6-man tag team match where he defeated Doug Gilbert, Jerry Lawler, and Lawler's son, Brian Christopher, via disqualification on August 23rd of 2023. At the age of 79, Terry Funk passed away at a Phoenix area hospital from dementia. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hope you like the content. And on that note, I've been Sean Mack, and this is Death After Sports. Terry Funk.